Can you believe it? We're talking about 7 straight months of prices going up in Calgary's real estate market. Every month keeps smashing the last month's record, and it's happening in every sector. But it's time to get real for a second and ask the important questions, like why is this even going on, and can it keep going like this? Well, today we're going to dive into the latest data and trends to help answer those exact questions, plus help you decide if it's the right time to be jumping into the real estate game. We're also going to talk about what to expect as we say goodbye to summer and start to move into the fall market. So welcome to our August market update. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Ryan with the Ever Group. And if you're always searching for the latest on Calgary's real estate market and you don't want to miss any of the action, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We've got some more great content like this coming up soon. And if you find this video helpful, smash that like button. Your thumbs up helps fuel our channel, and it grows and it goes out in front of more people just like you, hungry for these insights. Now, to kick things off, let's talk about the soaring prices we've seen so far this year. Over the past year, Calgary's market has been on a bit of a journey. After some wavering buyer demand due to the interest rate hikes of 2022 and our natural seasonal slowdown into the winter, since then, Calgary's market has been nothing short of an absolute rocket ship. Fueled by unwavering demand and scarce inventory, our prices have just been soaring every month. The result has been 4 months in a row of new all-time highs for the market. And heading into August, Calgary's benchmark price has hit $564,700. Now, it's a modest uptick of just 0.5% from last month, so not exactly a big leap, but it's a comforting one, considering what we've seen over the past few months. Now, if we crunch some numbers, since the year began, your average Calgary property has seen their prices increase by about $51,000, or nearly 10%. And the best thing about our market right now is that every sector of it is feeling the heat of this red hot market. The benchmark price for detached homes is up to $690,500. That's an uptick of 7.6% from last year and an increase of 11.7% year to date. In semi-detached homes, they're up to $616,800. That's an increase of 7.4% from last year and an increase year to date of nearly 10%. But where we really need to shift the spotlight to is townhouses and apartments. They're the true showstoppers right now. With buyers shifting towards more budget-friendly options, townhouses are on a real rise. Prices have hit $407,500. That's nearly a 13.7% increase from last year. And if you think that's a crazy number, townhouse prices are up 15% just this year. Now, as for apartment condos, not only have we fully recovered to those 2014 highs, but we've now exceeded them. We've hit a new all-time high for apartment prices at $305,900. Now that marks a remarkable increase of 12.1% from last year and a 12.4% increase from the start of the year. This surge in condo and townhouse prices is a result of a massive demand for affordable options. As detached and semi-detached prices are continuing to climb and interest rates are remaining high, this really comes as no surprise. Not only are locals and first-time home buyers here in Calgary trying to find affordable options, but we have this huge population of new migrants to the city all looking for those same opportunities. These migrants are coming from places like Vancouver and Toronto, where the chances of finding an affordable property is next to impossible. And with prices recovering in those cities again, I don't think we're going to see any slowdown in the migration numbers to the province and to the city of Calgary. Now, by this point in time, we have all heard about the great migration to the province of Alberta from places like Ontario or BC. But it's really crazy the impact that it's having on Calgary's real estate market. All of these new Calgarians need a place to call home, and normally rent is a good, viable option. But with the insanity going on in Calgary's rental market, many are having to turn to buying instead. And with a big focus on affordable options, it's no surprise to see condos and townhouse prices doing what they're doing. So here's the bottom line. If you're holding on to a condo or townhouse in Calgary and you're watching your property's value rise and you're starting to get curious if now's the time to sell it, It absolutely is. This opportunity is an incredible one to move up, sell your townhouse, move up to that detached home, or sell off one of your investment properties that you've been wanting to for a while. And for those of you with higher priced properties or luxury homes, listen up, because luxury homes are thriving as well. Case in point, we had this beautiful property in Sunnyside that we listed a few weeks back for just under $1.5 million. It didn't even survive a day before it was sold, and it sold for well over the asking price. In a nutshell, the market's on fire. So whether you're new to real estate or a seasoned pro, remember that with demand skyrocketing and inventory so scarce, when that prime opportunity presents itself, you need to be ready to act quickly to ensure that you're going to get it. Now let's take a quick step back and take a look at one of the key contributing factors to rising prices: the serious shortage of properties for sale. The current inventory situation is posing quite the challenge for buyers and, well, surprisingly sellers across the board. Yes, you heard me correctly. Low inventory is a problem for sellers. Not all, but for many it is. You see, sellers are feeling the squeeze too, and it's a real catch-22. Sellers are holding back, worried that if they sell, they'll have nowhere to go, which as a result means there's less new listings. Fewer new listings means even more worry out of sellers, and the vicious cycle repeats itself. If we take a look at the numbers, our months of supply sits at just 1.32 months, a staggering 44.6% drop from last year. As you'd expect, inventory has plunged by 35% as well. It's really as if there's nothing out there for people to buy, and it doesn't seem like there's any relief on the way. And because inventory is so directly tied to prices, we aren't seeing prices rise because realtors or sellers are just listing houses prices for whatever reason. It's because buyers are willing to pay more for houses right now. Now, to help you understand just how the market is right now, I want you to think back to last year in the spring. Remember all the headlines? Calgary's housing market's on fire, everyone's moving here, prices are flying. Despite interest rates doing what they're doing, there was no inventory. Houses are selling in a record amount of time. Well, buckle up, because it's just like that, but dialed up to 11. We've got fewer homes for sale. We've got prices scaling new heights. We've got higher interest rates. We've got more pressure on buyers now than ever before. Put on top of that there's this ever-growing sea of new buyers entering the market, all competing for the same small handful of properties. Now, I know there's a lot of people waiting for a market change or for interest rates to drop, thinking that that's going to be a positive change to the market. But I really think it's going to result in the opposite. Lower rates will just encourage more people to buy houses. More people buying houses is more demand, and more demand will result in more competition. And if we're at a starting point of a market that is in a severe inventory deficiency, I couldn't even imagine where the market would go once there's even more demand and competition in it. Now, to avoid this, it would honestly take a miracle. We'd have to see thousands of new construction homes go up at affordable price points, or thousands of Calgary homeowners all list their homes and flood the market with inventory. Neither of these are very likely situations, especially considering that interest rates aren't planning to move anytime soon. So for you buyers out there, if you're thinking of buying in Calgary, hop in with confidence, knowing that there's a huge wave of demand behind you to support your decision. We are nowhere near the tip of the iceberg, at least not in my opinion. And potential sellers, you will be able to find your next home. Yes, the uncertainty does make things uneasy, but with the right guidance and support, I promise you will land on your feet. Now, I want to take a look at the most interesting trend that we're seeing right now, and that's in sales. Previously, we discussed how a dip in sales activity at the start of the year could be misleading, as it may lead you to believe that we were seeing a market slowdown, when in reality, we weren't at all. Inventory was so limited at that time that sales had to plummet because there was simply nothing for people to buy. And as a result, there was a ton of pent-up demand going into the spring and now summer markets. We saw sales starting to rise a few months back, and it's been consistently accelerating since then. In fact, sales are no longer rebounding, they're breaking records. July witnessed an impressive 18% increase in sales from last year, setting a new mark for the month. Yeah, that's right. In the same year where we were talking about sales being down 40%, we're now talking about new records. It's insane. To provide some context to how significant this is, we need to take a look at the sales to new listings ratio. This ratio shows just the pace of sales and how much of the market is selling. Simply put, it indicates the percentage of new listings sold within a given timeline. The higher that percentage is, the hotter a seller's market we're in. In July, this ratio climbed to 82%, a very strong indicator that we're in a very hot seller's market with a lot of demand. For reference, last year in the craziness of that market, it capped out at 77%. And the historical figure for Calgary is just 54%. The key point here is that the pace of sales is keeping up with the pace of new listings, and it's putting a lot of upward pressure on prices. Now, if we dig a bit deeper into the sales data, a significant portion of the sales of the last month came from apartment condos. And this is important because apartment condos were a struggling part of our market for about the last decade. Now, detached properties still make up the substantial part of sales every month, about 50% of the market. But apartment condo sales are up 50% year over year and are now contributing 30% of the sales that we saw in July. Now, that's a huge increase in such a short amount of time, and it's a very clear indicator of that shift to more affordable, budget-friendly options in our marketplace. And if we do look ahead, I anticipate August is going to continue on with the same momentum, leading us into a fall market with a lot of pressure on prices and a ton of demand. And since there's no evidence of demand dropping off and we're likely going to see an uptick in activity in the fall, inventory is going to continue to be a challenge and there's going to continue to be upward pressure on prices. I don't think we're going to see rapid price growth, but I definitely expect we're going to see some modest gains. What is for certain though is that Calgary desperately needs more homes for sale. And look, I get it, it's a tough time to make a move, but if you are considering it, we would love the opportunity to sit down with you and help answer your questions on if now is the right time for you to do it. So please give me a call or shoot me a text or email. There's no pressure to list your home. We just want to sit down and answer those questions. So you're asking yourself, what do I do? Well, for those of you that see this market as an opportunity, it's important to have the right processes, steps in place. Buyers, it's all about understanding your needs and wants and having a well-developed action plan in place with your agent. With properties selling within a day or a weekend, it's important to act quickly and confidently. And while you can try and go in with an early offer to avoid competition, the reality is if that house has had a ton of showings on it, expect competition. Now, if you go into a competing offer situation, make sure you put your best foot forward. Don't just throw your hat into the ring because the sellers are not going to negotiate on offers. They are just going to take the best one presented. So make sure you go in with everything you have. Now, on the other hand, if you prefer to avoid competition altogether, then you have to pivot your strategy. You're going to want to look at properties that have been on the market for a little while, have some issues, or maybe need some TLC. Purchase plus improvements mortgages can be a great tool for these types of properties as it allows you to fix these properties up without having to use cash up front. Remember, there's a reason these properties aren't selling, and if you can live with that, these are great opportunities. Now, sellers, understanding where your property sits in the market is so important. Different parts of the market are seeing different activity, different demand, and different results. So you need to have a strategy in place that takes advantage of that. Number one is make sure your pricing is bang on. Pricing is still the most important factor. Working with an agent who is totally confident with your community and can back the price point that they present with comps is so important to ensuring that you're going to have a successful sale. Secondly, don't overlook the importance of presentation. It's easy to think that in this red hot seller's market, you can go easy on how you present your home and it's going to sell, but that's not the case. Almost all buyers make the decision to view a home based on the online photos alone. So make sure your home shows incredibly well in those photos. That's it for this month's update. I want to thank you for joining me on this one. And as always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Also, drop your thoughts in the comments section below. Are you surprised that we're seeing new all-time highs? Do you think this is sustainable? Are you concerned with where Calgary's real estate market is headed? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Until the next one, we're out.